I'm Alicia Powe with WND, and we're here at a rally for Seth Rich in Washington, D.C. What do you think happened to Seth Rich?
I don't think he was a robbery gone wrong victim. I grew up here in Washington, D.C. I've actually personally been mugged in D.C. I've never yet met someone who's been mugged who was beaten, handcuffed, and shot twice in the back when they took nothing.
What do you suspect happened to Seth Rich?
I think it was a hit. I think that John Podesta himself said it in one of his emails. He literally said in one of the leaked emails that we need to find out who this leaker was and we need to make an example out of this person. He said that in one of his emails. But the question that no one in any of these congressional hearings is asking, or no one in the press is asking, is, hey, Mr. Podesta, when did you come to the conclusion that it was the Russians and not some leaker? You know, and no one's asking this question. So it's a question that demands to be asked and demands an answer, and no one's asking this question, and it's clearly there's something terribly wrong here.
It seems like a lot of people just aren't very aware about why he's important. Is it fake news? What do Americans need to know?
The media likes to call it conspiracy theory because they're not giving us any answers. I mean, we do not have police reports. We don't have the body cam. You know, if they would just provide answers, we don't have to speculate.
You know, we have a lot of questions here at the rally today. Well, it's actually a vigil, I would say, more so. Number one, it's in remembrance of Seth Rich, who worked here up until 1 year ago today, where he was brutally murdered, did not deserve what happened to him. We're here, number one, to remember his memory. The DNC has a bike rack that they've dedicated to him. I'm not sure which denomination of religion supports, you know, attributing bike racks to people after they're murdered, but okay. And they did hold a moment of silence earlier today for Seth Rich with Donna Brazile and Tom Perez, the current chair. So that's good, I suppose. But there's so many unanswered questions as to what went on 1 year ago, the events of that fateful evening, that the DC Police, the DC Police Department, the District Attorney simply has not been forthwith. I know they've rebuked us with our FOIA requests. They've rebuked WorldNet Daily, ABC 7, Judicial Watch, so many places that have tried to simply ask for any type of information.
Uncovering what happened to Seth Rich is going to crack open really all the other lies that are going on in this country. And really the real reason that he was killed was because of, wasn't just the emails, it was because what the emails contained, and they exposed Pizzagate, and they exposed John Podesta, and these people, our government is controlled by a bunch of pedophile child molesters, and that has to get exposed, and that wouldn't get exposed if not for Seth Rich, and Hillary Clinton would be our president if not for Seth Rich, and we would all be doomed if not for him. So this is the least I could do is come out here.
Why are you at the DNC today?
Well, I'm here at the DNC. Obviously, Seth Rich was murdered, and I believe there is a systemic cover-up in actually who and how he was murdered, when he died, what he died from exactly, and even really where he died. As an American, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, but I find it very disturbing that an individual can get murdered and that we have this sort of systemic cover-up, particularly when this individual was stepping forward in order to show us public corruption in one of our major parties, which corrupted our system and it corrupted the elections.
It was not a robbery. We know that for a fact. And, you know, if it is, I would love to see these guys bring me proof.
Why isn't there an autopsy? Why didn't the DNC go crazy to get an investigation going? Why didn't they put up thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars for any information leading to the people who killed him? They left him for dead. They beat him first, and then they shot him several times, and he had all of his jewelry and all of his wallet. So that was contradicted by the police or other investigators who said that it was a robbery gone bad.
We decided to go to the area where he was last seen and check it out and see what was going on. And it happened that there were so many cameras in just about every neighborhood that we passed. Somehow, up to this day, we don't know exactly what happened to Seth, which direction he was going specifically. Did he speak with somebody or not? There's so many unanswered questions, and seems like this investigation is simply being silent.
The DNC's put no reward money offerings to find his killer. They put a bike rack up. That's it. What do you think about that?
I just think that shows that they really don't care, or they really want to minimize the events that happened.
Yes,
They did a little, but They did just enough to pacify.
I don't even think that pacifies. I know that Seth liked to ride his bike, and that was very generous of them, to say the least. But there are so many more things. You know, we want body cam from the police. Why was an FBI car broken into with 2 guns stolen an hour after Seth's death?
His robbery gone wrong, quote unquote, is unlike any other in the capital area. When you hear of people being murdered here, usually that footage is released immediately, and the public is asked for their help. Why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we a year later with zero progress? Why are we still saying that it's a robbery gone wrong when the indications are that it's something else?
He was murdered because he revealed too much to WikiLeaks, and they didn't want him talking anymore.
Murdered by who? Who's they?
Well, I believe there's a element of our society that operates above the law, and they hurt whistleblowers, they scare them, and they even kill them. And it's a mob element of the government, if you will. They operate, but they operate with some government protections. Otherwise, they would be arrested right now.
What do you think that the American people need to know about Seth Rich?
Well, I think there's a lot of things the American people need to know about Seth Rich. First of all, from the DNC, we need to know why they forbid the FBI and the CIA from looking at their servers. I suspect they did so because it would have shown an internal breach, because, you know, Julian Assange has asserted at least twice that Seth Rich was indeed the source of those emails. And the reason I believe that they've obstructed the FBI and the CIA is because it would then undermine their Russian narrative. And so it's very important to them, because imagine the collapse that would happen to their whole silly story of the Russians hacked their server if it turned out that Seth Rich actually had internally leaked the information.
What are you demanding of the DNC today?
Well, I would like to see, first of all, I'd like to see, I want to know why Donna Brazile, for instance, when Mr. Wheeler was investigating the case, why she asked why he's snooping around. She's the former chairperson of this organization. One of her employees was murdered. You would think that she would view any sort of investigation that's legitimate, and this guy's a legitimate investigator, as something positive and favorable, yet she refers to him doing his work as snooping around. That, to me, defies logic if she actually cares about the Seth Rich murder being solved. It actually implies to me that she would prefer it not be solved.
The machinery that we're seeing going on with the press trying to suppress any kind of questioning about this, and really what has become obvious to anybody who's taken even a cursory glance at the situation, the severe corruption in the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. It's like the leaders of the Democratic Party are incredibly corrupt, and I really believe that we have a big problem here with our democracy.
At the heart of it, regardless of what happened, this is a member of a major U.S. political party who was murdered during the heat of an extremely contentious U.S. election. And you would think that that's something that the FBI would want to be getting into, the same way that you'd think that the FBI would want to be getting into examining the servers in this very building behind us, which they've never done.
Are you a conspiracy theorist for being here today, as the mainstream media has alluded to for the last several months?
I think the term conspiracy theorist is derogatory because it's meant to belittle or discredit those who are asking questions, whether it's about someone's murder or something going on in the government. It's really another version of racist. It's a left-wing label that's slapped on to try to quiet us.
I personally believe that this guy leaked these emails to WikiLeaks because he saw what was going on, and because he did this, he was murdered. I believe that. And I don't think that makes me some paranoid freak. I don't think that makes me some weird conspiracy theorist. That just makes me a normal person that has looked at the circumstances.
If they'd like the conspiracy theories, as they'd like to call them, to stop, then that would mean that they should start releasing facts and truth so that we can all understand what actually did happen. I know for a fact what didn't happen. He wasn't a robbery victim.
Well, The media won't talk about it, and our representatives won't talk about it, and the police are squandering the investigation, allegedly. How are you going to make a difference?
So we're here today to make that difference, to say that the American people are going to stand up. There are people here who have united together, put their own money, kind of into this investigation. They've hired investigators. They're putting their own time and energy free of charge into it. And they're doing it not for, some people say it's for the reward money, but really I've not talked to anybody who has that in their mind at all. They want to know what happened. They want justice for Seth, and they want peace for their parents.
There's strength in numbers when it comes to hope and faith and pursuing it. And there are a lot of different people. That's what new media is about. That's what citizen journalism is about. And there's a certain faith that if everybody puts their heart and their work into this, that some of the truth will come out.
I just want the average person to start asking more questions, come out here, start bringing accountability, because we can't just have good people dying and no one seems to note it.
I'd like to see the DNC to come forward and stand with everybody who's asking for questions, who's asking for more investigation, to put pressure on the Democrat mayor, right? The mayor of DC is a Democrat, a member of their own party, to put pressure on them to say, we'd like to hear answers, we'd like to seek justice for what happened to Seth, he didn't deserve it, and we'd like to know, quite frankly, that the people or person who did this is behind bars, not able to do it to somebody else.
To the Rich family, we love you guys. We know that you guys are in a tough situation right now, is what I'll say for that. But other people are fighting the good fight for you.
His family has to be very careful, because if these kinds of, they're the type of people that would take out Seth Rich, if I was his family, I'd be a little frightened as well, that I might be in danger. So I can understand why they've been very quiet and why they've asked the public to quiet it down. But people are doing what they feel is right in their hearts, and they're trying not to disparage his memory.
And they also allegedly have a spokesman that's assigned to them by the DNC. What about that?
I thought that was a little strange. There are a lot of those types of pieces that just don't add up. Lack of investigation, dampening of an investigation, no reward money. We were just looking over here to the side. The only commemoration is a tiny little plaque over a crumbling bike rack. It's really, really sad. We've tried to ask some staffers as they're coming out of the office what they did today to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of Seth's murder, and they look very ashamed to be here. They look ashamed to be coming out of the door, and they're running to their cars. We're not here to hurt them. We just want to know if they did anything special inside and if they're talking about it. Has it been difficult to be here today, ma'am? We've just been trying to see if people have any emotion, and it's like a stone wall. So that's suspicious too. It's really strange, very strange.